So, Stephen, who would you think will win the Premier League this season?
My heart says Liverpool, and obviously being a Liverpool fan, but my head says Manchester City. I think where we stand at the moment, with a few weeks left of the transfer window, I think they've bought very, very well, and I think they've strengthened areas where they were weak last season. And I think the Guardiola effect, I think having 12 months working under him, I think the players are really starting to take his messages on board. So I'm expecting big things from Manchester City this year.
Great. Top six of all looking good. Which two teams do you think are going to miss out on getting into the top four?
This could change over the next coming weeks depending on signings, but I think Tottenham could find it hard, not strengthening and no lift within the camp in what new signings give you. Although I'm a massive fan of Pochettino, I think it could be a tough season for Tottenham, especially being at Wembley. I think it'll lift other teams. And also my worry for Arsenal, I'm a huge fan of Wenger and the way he plays and his style, but I just think if they go through a patch of 2 or 3 defeats, I think it could have that knock-on effect where the crowd get involved again, and that must be difficult for the players to be involved in. So I think Tottenham and Arsenal could struggle for top 4 this year.
Great. Who do you think will finish as the Premier League's top scorer this season?
I'm contradicting myself by saying this, but I just think he's a fabulous centre forward, Harry Kane. He reminds me so much of Alan Shearer. His size and his presence and some of the goals he scores. I think he's the most natural finisher in the league we have. He's hit big numbers over the previous seasons, so if he stays fit and healthy, I think Harry might do it again.
It's only August, but who would be your very early shout for Player of the Season?
It's a difficult one, this, because any of these players could get injured at any time. They could have a dip in form, so it's always a very difficult question. But I seen Mane last year at Liverpool, and he was fabulous. I watched him live a lot, and he's a very unpredictable, a very dangerous player, and he got injured at a bad time. And for me, he was on course to be in the running for the PFA Player of the Year. So if he stays healthy, I expect him to challenge as well. I'm a huge fan. He can score all kinds of different goals. He breaks the lines with his runs. He's exciting, and he's going to be a key ingredient for Jurgen Klopp this year.
Great. Who would you say has been the best signing of the summer so far?
There's been lots. I'm really looking forward to watching Bernardo Silva at Manchester City. I loved watching him at Monaco last year in the Champions League. I think he could be a key player for Manchester City. Morata at Chelsea, Lacazette. I mean, it's difficult to name one. I'm looking forward to seeing Salah, who's scoring heavily at Liverpool in pre-season. So the reason I'm so excited at the moment is because of all these signings, and I think it's very, very difficult to predict who's going to be the best.
You obviously know a lot of the young players at Liverpool, but looking at Liverpool and across the league, is there someone you think might enjoy a breakthrough campaign this year?
Yeah, I've got high hopes for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who you'll be aware of. I think he's played, I think he's into double figures now with his games under Jurgen Klopp. I know Jurgen's a big fan of him, and I expect him to really breathe heavily down Nathaniel Clyne's neck this season and really push him for a starting place. He's starting to fill out, his body's getting ready for the Premier League. The experience and the taste that he had last year should lift him. So I'm hoping that it'll be a big breakthrough year for him and he can really push on and get in the England under-21 setup. But it's a big 12 months for Trent.
Have you got an early shout for who will win the Champions League this season? And if it's not an English team, which English team do you think will go the furthest?
I don't think it'll be an English team. I think the English teams will do well. But I just think there's a bit of a gulf from the English teams to Real Madrid at the moment. I think they've won it 3 times out the last 4 years. I expect a little bit of movement in terms of their squad in the next couple of weeks. There's talk of Mbappe coming. He'd be an incredible addition to their squad, but their experience and know-how in this competition, we watched them last night against Manchester United and they only looked 70-80% fit and they were the much stronger team. So I think the challenge for the English teams is to try and close that gap and that gulf from our teams to Real Madrid, because they look the strong favourites to me, and I expect Barcelona to come back as well.
Were you surprised by Neymar's move from Barcelona to PSG? And
Yes.
do you think it was the right one?
I think time will tell whether it's the right one. If he goes on to win the Champions League with PSG and challenges for the Ballon d'Or, I think it will be the right move, because maybe coming away from Barcelona and out of the shadow of other players might help him. But for me, it was a surprise, it was a shock, because it looked all good to me at Barcelona. I thought he was thriving, I thought he was growing, and he's sort of next in line to take the throne to become the world's best player. So I didn't expect it. For me, it came out of the blue, but it's happened before in football. That's why we love the game. The unpredictable can happen.
We spoke to Rafa Benitez earlier, and he said that you were the best player that he managed. What was it like to play under Rafa? You obviously won the Champions League with him. What did he bring out the best in you?
Well, that's a fantastic compliment from Rafa, and I'm not just saying it because he said that, but I've said it many, many times. Tactically, setting a team up to win a game and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, Rafa was the best manager I worked under and the best coach. It was difficult to describe how to play him, really, because there was a bit of a tough love and a bit of a coldness there between me and Rafa, but I think that drove the best out of me. I was always searching for his love and his for him to appreciate me, if you like, and I sort of peaked and I had the best consistent years of my career under Rafa, so I've got a lot to thank him for.
You're good friends with Wayne Rooney. What do you make of his move back to Everton? How pleased are you?
I think it was the right move. It's great to see him back with his people, if you like. Obviously, he had a tremendous career at Manchester United. But looking in as a friend of Wayne, I didn't really want to see him go to the MLS or to China or anywhere. I'm sure he had tons and tons of opportunities. I think for him and his family, I think it's a great move and a clever move to go back to his people and try and win a trophy with Everton. Can you imagine the impact Everton haven't won a trophy for a long time, and if Wayne Rooney was to contribute in bringing a trophy back at Everton, it'll be great for him and his family.
A couple of quick fire would you rather questions. Would you rather have Romelu Lukaku or every one of Everton's summer signings?
I'd rather go for the volume of signings. I think there's more risk there because a few mightn't work out, but I think Everton have spent the money really, really well, and I think the signings make Everton a lot stronger than just the one signing will make Manchester United, because before Lukaku, to be fair to Ibrahimovic, he hit big numbers as well, so you're not sure, the difference that one signing can make.
Would you rather play for Jurgen Klopp or Antonio Conte?
Jurgen Klopp.
Why?
I like the character, I like his style. I've met the man, I know certain parts of his tactics. I get a really warm feeling. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Conte as well. I love his passion on the side, but I'm always going to be a bit biased to Liverpool because I'm a big fan, and I look and watch Liverpool now with a little bit of envy and a little bit of jealousy that I'd love to still be there playing for Jurgen Klopp.
Would you rather have in your team Celtic's Moussa Dembélé, Tottenham's Moussa Dembélé or Dortmund's Ousmane Dembélé?
I'd like the three of them if I could be greedy, but if I had to pick one, it would be Dembélé from Dortmund. I think he's a very exciting, promising player. He's been linked with Barcelona at the moment, and you can see why. Every time I watched him in the Champions League last year, he looks very dangerous, and he's got potential to become one of the best.
And just finally, would you rather score 40 goals in Ligue 1 or 20 goals in La Liga?
40. I love scoring goals. Doesn't matter where they are. The buzz when the ball hits the back of the net is a very difficult feeling to describe, so I'd go for the 40.
Brilliant. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Cheers, mate.
Nice one.
Thanks very much.